Namaskar, a very good morning, a very good afternoon, a very good evening, and a very good night to everyone who is watching this video right now. I am Aakanksha Kothari and you're watching Cuet Express. Today we will be looking at the CUET examination. What is the exam pattern? What are the marks that each paper holds? And what is the syllabus for psychology that I will be teaching? And thirdly, what are the key strategies that you must take up so that you must excel in your psychology tests? Now, what is CUET? It is a common university entrance test that provides a common platform to each and every individual to get admission into state as well as center universities, and it provides you admission into diverse academic programs. Now, what is the structure of the examination? First, we have the language tests, then we have domain-specific tests and the general tests. Okay, so in CUET, you have to give many tests, small tests, and all these tests, they are divided into 3 domains. That is the language tests, the domain-specific tests, as well as the general tests. In the language tests, this section is further divided in 2 parts. Section 1A with 13 languages and Section 1B with 20 languages. Candidates can choose one language from either section. This is a very mandatory test. If you want to gain admission into any center or state university, you must give a language test. And there are various kind of languages that are mentioned in Section A and Section B. For my part, I gave my examination in English, but you can also give your examination in Hindi, in Marathi, in Telugu, any language that you have a strong hold on and you feel comfortable studying your subject in. Second is the domain specific test. That is, these are your main subjects, and it is very important to focus on these subjects. The section offers 29 subjects, including 2 new additions. We have 2 new additions, that is tourism and fashion studies. Candidates can choose up to 6 subjects from this section. So minimum that you must choose from this section are 3, and the maximum that you can choose are 6. For my part, I chose political science, psychology, and history. And you can study, you can take up any 3 subjects, minimum 3 subjects, maximum 6 subjects that you feel comfortable in. And most importantly, that you have studied in your class 11th and 12th, so that you know the basic structure, the foundation of that subject. Next, we have the general test, and this assesses your general knowledge, reasoning abilities, and comprehension skills. It's a mandatory component of the exam. So the general test, it basically assesses your logical ability, your verbal comprehension, your mental ability and all. But it is not a mandate. It is not as such mandatory for certain courses. Like for instance, if you take the example of Delhi University, the certain arts courses like you have political science, you have psychology, history, they do not necessarily require you to give general tests. So for my part, I am doing my honors in political science. So this course doesn't require you to give general test. But on the other part, if you look at BHU, it does require, for each of its courses, it does require you to give a general test. So for this, what is very, very important, what you must do is that you must look at the requirements. So each university, before the filling of the examination form, before the filling of the CUET examination form, it will release a document in which it will list down what all are the required tests that course in that university requires. If you want to take political science, so what are tests you must give? That whether you should give a language test or not, whether you should give a domain specific, whether you should give a general test or not. So it's very important that you need to look at that document of your preferred university and the preferred courses. So it's very important that you must look into that so that you have a better understanding of what are subjects, what are the test papers that you have to give and which are the test papers you don't have to give. Because you should not spend unnecessary time on the subjects. That I did not spend any time on general tests. So my main focus was on these 2 domains. Okay, so you must keep that in mind, that don't spend time on unnecessary things, and you must focus on what is, you must know what is there that you must do, what is the syllabus, what are the topics that you must do. Don't do anything extra. Next is how subject selection. Okay, candidates can choose a combination of 6 subjects, which can include 4 domain subjects, 1 language test, 1 general test, or 3 domains. It's just telling you about what is the combination that you can have. Okay, so for language, एक language आपको देना ही पड़ेगा. Minimum you should give 3 domain tests. So the minimum number of examination that you can give are 4. Okay, I gave only 4 tests. But on top of that, if you're applying for certain courses, like you're applying for BCom or you're applying for maths or physics, that does require you to give a general test. Okay, तो उसके लिए आपको 1 plus 3 plus 1, that is you must give 5 subjects. Maximum आप यहाँ पे 6 subjects कर सकते हैं. Okay, university requirements, as I had mentioned earlier, candidates should carefully check the subject requirements of their desired universities to ensure their chosen subjects align with their admission criteria. Okay. Then we have the details. Question format. You must know that already that the exam format is a multiple choice question format. They are multiple choice question and they carry 5 marks each. Okay. Negative marking, we also have a negative marking of -1 for each incorrect answer. Candidate should be mindful of this while attempting the question, that you should not just blindly answer a question. If you have, like, if you completely don't know the answer, then you should refrain from answering that question, because that will result in negative marking. The exam duration for each subject is 45 minutes. It's very important to keep in mind the exam duration. Coming from personal experience, I'm telling you that the domain specific subjects, okay, domain specific subjects, like history, geography and all, I mean those theory and those theory subjects I'm talking about, the art subjects, it did not take as much time. From my experience, it did not take much time. But if we look into the language test, okay, in which we had to study, we had to read the comprehension, we had to match the following, we had to look at the prepositions, so it did take very much time. So you must keep that in mind. You must practice mock tests, you must track the time, how much time it is taking you to complete one mock test, so that you can increase your speed and you can perform better in your examination. However, mathematics, applied mathematics and accountancy, physics, chemistry, they they are practical subjects that require you to do various kinds of mathematical problems. So obviously they will give you 60 minutes, like general test also 60 minutes, they give you extra time. Next is the marking scheme. Language mein, there are 40 questions, out of that you have to, 50 questions, out of that you have to attempt 40. Total 200 marks ka hoga. Domain specific 40 questions, 200. General test is 50 questions and 250. Next is the negative marking scheme. For each you have -1 marks. Then we must look at the syllabus that we have for psychology. And for CUET, you must study, that's the requirement, the class 12th NCERT textbook. Okay, so basically everything will come from that textbook only. No question will be asked from outside this textbook. Therefore, it is very important that you must study each and every concept, each and every line very thoroughly. Okay. First unit, we have variations in psychological attribute. Okay, you'll study how individuals differ from each other. What are the different attributes that each individual have? What do you mean by intelligence? What are the different theories of intelligence? You'll study about different theorists. You'll study about what are the factors that influence intelligence. You'll study about emotional intelligence. You'll talk about emotional quotient, intelligence quotient. You'll study about creativity. Then we have self and personality. In this unit, you will study about yourself. You'll study about personality. We have different kinds of theory of personalities. Different theories of personality which use certain kind of characteristics to narrow down each individual to a certain kind of personality. Okay, then we have meeting life challenges. Here you will necessarily you'll study about stress. Okay, because the main challenge in each individual's life is stress these days. So what are the reason for stresses, what are the effect of stresses, and how you can tackle those stresses? What are the therapeutic approaches that are taken by psychologists, and also certain kind of a kind of a milder approach that you can yourself take, like meditation, mindfulness and yoga. Then we have unit 4, that are psychological disorders. It's a very interesting unit which talks about the different psychological disorders, schizophrenia, and it talks about OCD, it talks about anxiety, it talks about amnesia. So this chapter has all the psychological disorders. You'll study about characteristics, what the individual having that disorder, what are the characteristics that individual possesses, and finally therapeutic procedures. The individual who have these kind of psychological disorders, how are the psychologists, okay, how the psychologists aim to treat those individuals, what are therapeutic procedures that they approach. Okay, so we have different kind of like psychodynamic theory, humanistic, cognitive, behavioral, biomedical approaches. We have alternative theories like yoga and meditation as well. Finally, there is attitude and social cognition. It focuses on individual, what's the individual attitude, how do you actually possess your attitude, how do you actually inherit the attitude. It is a result of your surrounding, it is a result of the culture. Okay, what are the conditions that are influencing your pro-social behavior or anti-social behavior, your social conditions, stereotypes, schemas, nature and components of attitudes. You'll study about stereotypes kya hote hain, discrimination kya hota hai, basically society related things you'll study in this chapter, attitude and social cognition. Next, we have social influence and group processes. It basically talks about how individuals behave in a social condition, what is the influence of a group on an individual, what is the influence of an individual on a group. You'll study about different theories. You'll study about the prisoner's dilemma, the game theory and everything. You'll study about cooperation, competition while in a group. In certain situations, the individuals will cooperate, but in certain situations, they will, start competing with each other. Okay, you'll talk about different types of groups, what's the social identity, intergroup conflicts, and how to resolve those conflicts. Unit 8 is psychology and life. It focuses on the application of psychological understanding on important social issues. Whatever different kind of psychological understanding, the different things that you've learned in previous units, how to apply that in your everyday life. What's a human-environment relationship, environmental effects on human behavior, pro-environment behavior, social aggression, violence, peace, discrimination, poverty. So it explores these kind of terms. Finally, is developing psychological skills. Okay, you have studied different kind of psychological things, you have studied different terms, you have studied the various approaches, the various reasons. So how to actually apply those psychological skills, develop those psychological skills. Use interpersonal skills for personal and social movement. It covers observational skills, very important, interviewing skills, testing skills, counseling skill, empathy. So it does not mean that you need to be necessarily be a psychologist for applying these psychological skills. You can be a normal person. You can use the psychological trick of observation to observe certain people's behavior. You can interview certain people, test, counsel, you can help your friend, show empathy, authenticity, positive regard, communication, and including listening skill. So these are all the unit that we have in class 12th NCERT in psychology. Then what are the preparation tips that you must undertake? First is thorough syllabus coverage. My one and only request to all of you is that know your syllabus. Syllabus is a very, very important thing that you must, must learn. If you can, just learn your entire syllabus. What are the topics? What are the subtopics that it has? For my part, I made a huge mistake that I started learning things which were not in the book. I started studying extra. But let me tell you that they are not going to ask anything extra. Everything that's going to come is going to come from your NCERT. Everything that's going to come is from your NCERT textbook. Nothing's going to come out of it. So just keep this one thing in mind. Syllabus ko yaad rakho. Ek line ko dhang se padho. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to us. So just focus on the syllabus rather than on other things. Then there is time management. It is very important in competitive examinations as well as another examination to manage your time. Unlike your school examination, we have a limited time, and in that time you must complete your examination. Furthermore, you have a limited time. Okay, it's October going on. You must have your examination in starting from May or maybe even before that. So how you must utilize your time? These months between the months between your examination and right now. So you must plan out that how many units you must complete, that how much you should focus on the language part, how much time that you should give to language part, how much time you should give to your domains, specific subjects, how much time you should give to your general test. You must make a complete timetable for that. Okay, it's very important to do that, because unless you do that, you will not be able to complete your syllabus in time. Finally is mock test. Okay, आपने सिलेबस को अच्छे से समझ लिया, आपने अपना टाइम मैनेजमेंट कर लिया, आपने पूरा एक एनालिसिस बना दिया, आपने पूरा एक शेड्यूल बना दिया. What's the last thing? That when you have completed your entire syllabus, it's very important to do a mock test. One personal suggestion would be, after each unit, do a mock test of that unit. Okay, just Google unit 1 psychology MCQ based question, or you can also search in the in CUET, in the CUET videos also, that what are the different MCQ based questions, because that will enable you to assess yourself. Okay, what are the topics you know, what are the topics that you don't know. Okay, so it's very important. And when you've done the unit 1 ka MCQ, you've excelled in that, then jump on to unit 2. And when you've completed all the units, then do a thorough complete syllabus mock test. Do a complete syllabus mock test. Mock tests are very, very important. Okay, and while doing your mock tests, it is very important that you must time your working. How much time did you take to solve the entire tests? Okay, and if you're taking much more time, then it is required, that I said 45 minutes, then it is required, then you must do another mock test and do another mock test. Do as many mock tests that you can, so that will help you to familiarize yourself with exam pattern. आप familiarize हो जाओगे कि MCQ को कैसे attempt करना है, because in MCQ many a times there are options that are very, very, very similar to each other. So doing mock test will help you to familiarize with the exam pattern, familiarize with the questions. So I guess that's it. I hope I am able to resolve your queries as well as help you to build your strategy for your CUET 2025 examination. If you have any queries, if you have any problems or any doubt relating the chapter as well as strategy, as well as you want to know my experience, how did I prepare for my CUET examination while coming from a completely different board, then you can reach out to us anytime. Thank you. That's it for today.